Every summer, millions of American gardeners do the same thing. They turn on the hose, spray for 10 minutes, call it done, and walk away. Or they set a sprinkler timer and let it run. Or they pour a watering can over everything every morning. And their plants grow, kind of. Enough to not feel like they're failing, but not enough to feel like they're thriving. I've been doing this wrong too. So, 60 days ago, I set up a controlled experiment in my own garden. 5 identical raised beds, 5 different watering methods, same plants, same soil, same compost, same sun exposure. The only variable was how I watered them. Today I'm going to show you exactly what happened. The results surprised me. One of them surprised me a lot. But first, a very important disclaimer. Because this channel is built on honesty, this is a personal garden experiment, not a peer-reviewed scientific trial. I am one gardener, with one garden and one climate. What I found is data worth taking seriously, but it is not the same as a university replication study, and I'll be clear about that throughout. Let's go. Here's how I designed this to be as controlled as possible. 5 beds, each one is 4 feet by 4 feet, filled with the same mix, 2/3 aged garden soil, 1/3 finished compost from the same batch, same orientation relative to the sun. Same beds I built at the same time from the same lumber. Into each bed, I planted the same 3 crops, tomatoes, basil, and lettuce. All started from the same seed packet or transplant flat, planted on the same day, same spacing. And then, the only thing that changed was how I watered them. Method 1, overhead sprinkler, a basic oscillating sprinkler, the kind most people use. Set on a timer, running 20 minutes every morning. Method 2, shallow hand watering me, with a garden hose watering the surface for about 5 minutes every day, the way most casual gardeners water. Quick, visible, habitual. Method 3, deep, infrequent watering. A garden hose with a slow flow nozzle, watering each bed deeply until a screwdriver inserted 8 inches came out moist, but only every 3 to 4 days, letting the soil dry out between sessions. Method 4, drip irrigation. A basic drip line system with 1 gallon per hour emitters placed near each plant's root zone, running 45 minutes every other day, controlled by a simple battery timer. Method 5, olla pot irrigation, the 4,000-year-old method. 2 unglazed terracotta clay pots buried in each bed, necks exposed, filled every 3 to 5 days, no electronics, no timers, no pressure. I tracked 3 things across all 60 days: plant height and visual growth, leaf health and disease signs, and yield, counting actual tomatoes and basil harvested by weight. I also tracked water used in each bed, measured in gallons per week. Before I show you results, let me tell you what the research says should happen, because it makes the results more interesting when you see them. The fundamental principle of watering is this: deep watering, soaking soil to a depth of 6 to 12 inches, is consistently superior to shallow watering for nearly all garden plants. Shallow watering encourages surface rooting, increases evaporation loss by up to 40%, and promotes fungal diseases like powdery mildew and root rot. The mechanism is simple. Frequent shallow watering leads to shorter, shallower root systems because the plant gets what it needs from the surface and has no reason to go deeper. Deep watering at less frequent intervals forces the plant to grow deeper and more extensive roots to get what it needs. So, before this experiment even started, methods 1 and 2, the sprinkler and the daily shallow hand watering, were already at a biological disadvantage. The question was, by how much? On the other end, drip irrigation is considered about 90% more efficient than traditional methods like sprinklers, with conventional watering at a 60 to 75% efficiency ratio. And one of the key biological advantages of drip is that it keeps foliage dry. Wet leaves are one of the primary vectors for fungal disease in vegetable gardens. And then there's the olla. Research published in the journal Agricultural Water Management found that buried clay pot irrigation leads to very high efficiency, even better than drip irrigation, and as much as 10 times more efficient than conventional surface irrigation. The water seeps out through the clay wall at a rate that is influenced by the plant's own water use, a form of auto-regulation. That last part is the key. The olla doesn't just deliver water. It delivers water in response to what the plant actually needs. When the surrounding soil is moist, the olla slows down. When it dries out, it speeds up. No timer, no electronics. The plant and soil regulate it passively. That's what the research says should happen. Here's what happened in my beds. The first 2 weeks, honestly, all 5 beds looked almost identical. The plants were establishing, differences were minimal. But by the end of week 2, the first sign appeared. The overhead sprinkler bed, method 1, showed the first spots of early blight on the tomato leaves. The leaves were getting wet every morning and staying wet in the heat. Classic fungal setup. The shallow hand watering bed, method 2, started showing slight yellowing in the lower leaves. The soil between waterings was going bone dry at the surface, then getting hit with a quick splash. The cycle was stressing the plants. The deep watering, drip, and olla beds all looked healthy and similar. By week 4, the gap was visible to the naked eye. The sprinkler bed tomatoes had spreading blight on 3 of 4 plants. I had to start removing infected leaves every few days. The plants were putting energy into disease management instead of fruit production. The shallow watering bed plants were alive and growing, but noticeably behind in height. I measured. The tomatoes in that bed were about 30% shorter than the drip and olla beds at the same point. The deep, infrequent watering bed was performing well, noticeably better than I expected. The plants looked healthy. The soil retained moisture longer than I thought it would between sessions. The drip bed was clean, no disease, steady growth, consistent soil moisture when I checked with a screwdriver test. And the olla bed, method 5, was the visual standout. By week 4, those tomato plants were clearly the most vigorous of all 5 beds. Darker green leaves, more lateral branching, visibly more robust. Weeks 5-8, the yield data. This is where it gets concrete. By day 60, here's what I harvested from each bed total. Method 1, overhead sprinkler, tomatoes, lowest yield. Heavy blight reduced fruiting significantly. Basil showed powdery mildew. Lettuce bolted early, likely from uneven moisture. Water used, approximately 48 gallons across the 60 days. Method 2, shallow daily hand watering, better than the sprinkler on disease. No overhead wetting of leaves, but yield was below average. Plants stayed smaller. The shallow root system meant they struggled doing a 5-day hot stretch in week 6. Water used, approximately 42 gallons. Method 3, deep and frequent watering. This one surprised me. Better than both overhead methods by a clear margin. The plants developed noticeably deeper root systems. When I dug one up at the end of the experiment to examine, the roots went significantly deeper than a shallow watered bed. Yield was solid, 3rd place overall. Water used, approximately 35 gallons. Less water, better plants than daily shallow water. Method 4, drip irrigation. Consistent, clean, reliable, no disease, steady yields. The tomatoes produced well and the basil was the healthiest in the experiment alongside the olla bed. Water used, approximately 22 gallons. Efficient. Method 5, olla irrigation. The best performing bed in this experiment by overall yield. The tomatoes were the tallest, the most productive, and showed 0 disease across the full 60 days. The basil produced the most weight. The lettuce lasted the longest before bolting. The most consistent soil moisture of any bed, measured every 5 days with a probe. Water used, approximately 18 gallons. The lowest water usage of any method, while producing the highest yield. Let me explain why the olla likely outperformed, and then be honest about what this experiment cannot tell us. The fundamental advantage of the olla is what researchers call autoregulation. Because the pores in the clay pot are small, water does not freely flow out. A suction force is created by soil moisture tension as well as the plant roots. If the soil is dry, the water releases faster as the roots pull it out. If there has been a recent saturating rainfall, the water remains in the olla until the surrounding soil dries. In plain English, the plant controls its own water supply. No timer, no human judgment, no over or underwatering. The plant takes what it needs, when it needs it, at the depth it needs it. Research shows that subsurface watering from ollas is up to 10 times more efficient than conventional irrigation. They conserve water in drought and help prevent overwatering. And crucially, because the water delivery is subsurface, the soil surface stays relatively dry. Fewer weeds germinated in my olla bed than in any other. No wet foliage. No fungal disease pathway. Now, the honest caveats. This is one experiment, in one garden, across one 60-day season, in my specific climate. Olla irrigation works well in containers, raised beds, or in-ground gardens, but it has real limitations for larger spaces, where scaling becomes prohibitively expensive. If you have a large vegetable garden, half an acre or more, the olla approach becomes impractical. Drip irrigation is almost certainly the right answer at that scale. The deep, infrequent watering result also has a nuance. Plants with shallow roots, such as lettuce and annual flowers, benefit more from surface watering, while deep-rooted plants like tomatoes and shrubs thrive with deep watering. My lettuce in the deep watering bed did not outperform the drip or olla beds. It needs more frequent surface moisture. So here's the honest synthesis. Based on this experiment, and the research that explains why, here are my actual recommendations. If you have a small raised bed garden, try the olla method. Start with 2 clay pots per 4x4 bed. The setup cost is low, the maintenance is minimal, and the results I saw were genuinely impressive. The efficiency gains are real, not theoretical. If you have a larger garden or need automation, drip irrigation is the right call. The disease reduction alone, by keeping foliage dry, justifies the setup cost. Drip systems can save up to 70% of the water used in traditional sprinkler irrigation. If you're currently hand watering daily, stop. You're likely creating shallow root systems and stressing your plants. Water deeply, less often. A screwdriver test, pushing it 8 inches into the soil, will tell you whether you actually need to water. If it comes out cool and moist, you don't. If you're using an overhead sprinkler on vegetables, that's the most important thing to change. Wet foliage plus warm temperatures equals fungal disease. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Move the water to ground level. And the method that was last in every metric, the daily shallow hand watering, is unfortunately the method most American home gardeners use. If that's you, this video was made for you. Here's what 60 days in a garden taught me, or reminded me, that I already knew but wasn't practicing. Plants are not fragile. They've been extracting water from soil for 400 million years without our help. When we water them thoughtlessly, too often, too shallow, overhead, we're not helping them. We're training them to be dependent on us. We're keeping their roots at the surface where every dry spell hits hardest. When we water them the way the science and 4,000 years of accumulated agricultural wisdom suggests, they become genuinely resilient. Deeper roots, better disease resistance, more fruit. The method doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to respect the biology. Next Thursday, I'm going deep on mycorrhizal fungi, what they actually are, why the internet has gotten half of it wrong, and whether the inoculants sold at garden centers actually work. The research on this is genuinely surprising. If this video was useful, subscribe. We post every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And tell me in the comments, which watering method are you currently using, and are you happy with it? I read everything. See you Thursday.